Have you chose a book or tried to buy a book based on trying to get the belief system, the education, the knowledge that is in that book, and then seem to read it, but then nothing happens afterwards? Knowledge always isn't power when it comes to taking the information and making it practical and using it on a day-to-day basis. Those that think more education is better, the more knowledge is better, are missing a core fundamental piece of the puzzle, which is the application. Having more understanding, having more knowledge is absolutely fantastic. It allows you to make more and better decisions, and then the decisions allow you to then take more action and make more practice. But there has to be both ends of the spectrum. Getting more knowledge is great, understanding, creating your craft, upskilling is fantastic, but you have to have some level of understanding to make that practice, to get your 10,000 hours in, to get that action throughout that process. If you are, and like myself, spent a lot of time reading and a lot of time understanding science and a lot of understanding your craft, and then found a massive gap, or I found a massive gap within that need to action. I had a lot upstairs, I knew what I was doing, I knew why I was doing it, I knew the chemical reactions behind the pathways, but when it became someone in front of me, it became very, very difficult to apply. And it became something of where it was so many decisions to decipher. I got decision fatigue around how much knowledge I actually knew. And I didn't know which craft, which skill, which behavior to actually input into this person in front of you. Now, knowing this and taking a lot of knowledge and trying to dissect it into action, I now take a different approach. I now take one behavior, one book, or one learning that I'd like to do, and I implement it and try it with the people that I've got around me. I practice it, upskill it in a practical sense, so you know what it's like from science, or from thinking, or best case scenario, optimal, and put it into practical. Without that transition of taking one from here to here, you lose a lot of this in the middle. And obviously a lot of this doesn't always mean the best practice. So if you are struggling and you're trying to get as much knowledge as possible, you're trying to read as much books as possible, you're trying to get as much upskilling and education as possible, it's only as good as you implement it. So find that blend between the two. Take one book, take one understanding, one concept, and apply it to your day. Apply it to your life. 5 a.m. club. Do the 5 a.m. club for a period of a couple of months. Try gratitude, and try then morning routines or evening routines, or trying to move away from your boundaries. Understand the core fundamental of one singular thing and implement it and practice it. There's often lots of knowledge and lots of understanding lost with just focus on one singular thing. Everybody wants to have everything in their toolbox. They want every single trick underneath the book. They want every educational piece upskilling. They want to be optimal. But you can't be optimal without their level of practical. And you build practical over time by repetition, by practicing these methods and these skill points, and upskilling in that art of practical. So take one over here, take your one book and move it over into this side and practice it for a period of time. Understand what it's like from taking it from a book perspective into a understanding perspective, and put it into practice as well. You don't want to lose and read 20 books or read 50 books and never actually put any of it into practice. You don't get the skill that you wanted. You read a book, you get all enthusiastic about it, it becomes an emotional attachment for a week. You do the exact thing that they want you to do for a week or two, and then it falls and fades because you've moved on to the next one, instead of really harboring that skill and navigating it from the optimal to the practical, and then ensuring that you don't get caught in that knowledge is always power bracket, which is not. Knowledge is great and understanding is fantastic, but the transition to actionable, usable, mechanical aspects is the lost art between something being nice on paper to you actually doing it on a day-to-day basis, whether that's routines, habits, behaviors, thought processes, new training skills, new skill set from cooking or cleaning. It all requires you to take it from what it is into the art of doing, and the art of doing is always lost in the people that will always try and chase knowledge. Do both.